All right, we are live-ish.
So when you lost power, does that mean you were dethroned? Asked Noise.
I think that is actually what happened. Yeah, one of the joys of living in rural areas. Shit don't work.
Oh yes, yeah, that's for sure.
So,
Um,
and then my iPad was being weird. So we're back on the phone, which means the battery's shit. So
gotta make it quick.
yeah, so you can either get a microphone or you can get battery. You cannot have both. That's just not a thing. It's not how we roll. We do have matching red shirts today.
Yeah, that's awesome. Is
So,
yours
although
Huntrix? Do you
no,
represent
mine has like
K-pop?
nothing whatsoever.
Oh well,
It's
yeah,
one of
still
those like it's a t-shirt, but it's sort of made to look like a polo a little.
yes,
It's like a fake polo.
nice. So we have 4 people viewing right now. One
Hey,
person is Noised, and 3 are a mystery. One might be you. I'm not sure.
that is possible. That might be a ghost account, and the other two
Yes,
are also noised, but like with a VPN set to different places in the world.
awesome.
Because
Bump those
it would be
numbers.
suspicious if there were 3 Italians. So now we got like he's moonlighting as like an Algerian.
Nice.
Yeah, they have good food there. I
Algeria?
think so.
Oh, yeah, I don't know.
We went to this market over in Columbus, and they had like I think it was like a Somali food stand, like a
Oh yeah.
big indoor mall thing with like different food stands. It
Mhm.
looked so good, but we had just eaten like an enormous amount of food, so I felt like really bad. I couldn't eat any, but because we had gone to like a German style restaurant, and just like eating like madmen in the morning. So now I've been like thinking, because you just can't get that stuff like where we live.
No. Yeah. I mean, it's only polite to stuff yourself silly, right?
Yeah.
Let's see. So Noise thought maybe you meant IRL, like LS dethroned you from the Weasel House. I'm not
Oh,
sure who LS is.
Lancelot.
Oh,
Maybe.
yeah. There we go. Lancelot, yeah. And
So I
Noise
don't
is
think
drinking
there's.
bourbon, so if he's just slurring his letters, then
Oh, I don't know if that affects his typing. I think that's like pretty solid.
yeah, it's weird. I always was able to type when I was drunk too, for the most part. That's how I learned to type.
Like in like for did you have like typing classes in school? Did
Oh
they do
yeah,
that
that was
when
terrible.
we just played because the people who already had a computer anyway always like completed the assignments like 5 minutes and then we just played SimCity or whatever.
Oh yeah.
That was like the one thing because they had like I guess it was like an educational version of it or something.
Oh nice.
So it was
We
just the same game, but I think there was like binders that explained how a city works or something. We just
okay.
played SimCity.
Oh yeah, we didn't have fancy Macs. We had the black and white ones. Like they were
Uh,
still like an iMac looking thing, but like ancient
oh
box.
yeah.
Mac
Ours were
Classic
all
link.
like DOS PCs from like the year zero.
Yeah.
There were the old ones where they had like the turbo button.
Oh.
So if you need that extra power, or if you need
Yeah.
to cheat in Tetris, you can turn the turbo off.
Oh yeah.
Exactly. You got like a little extra time to get stuff done.
The L team is Ludwig, Lawrence, and Lancelot.
Oh, okay. Yeah. In hindsight, naming them all things with L has often been a mistake.
You yell them and forget their names. Which one?
Yeah, we'll mix up like who is who pretty frequently. So
Well, today's topic on episode 26 of the Bad Internet Friends podcast
does not start with an L.
does not start with an L. It does start with a C. The topic is campaigns.
Yeah.
And specifically for me, I'm kind of at the point where I'm trying to figure out how the campaign is going to work for the game I'm working on, Endless Hammer.
Yeah.
But I figured it would be a good broad topic overall, just so we can talk campaign talk. The kind of philosophy that can go into designing a campaign for a certain style of game, or if you wanted to create a campaign for a game that doesn't have one.
Mm-hmm. Which is a frequent, I feel like there was some point where like it changed and suddenly like every game comes with some sort of campaign rules, but it didn't used to be the case. Like a lot of games just never had something. Or they had like, like one page in the back.
Yeah. Planetfall.
Yeah, campaigns are kind of because I feel like there's two different things people could mean. Maybe even three, I don't know. Because like at the very like simplest, it's just like like we play some games and they're like connected together, right?
Hmm.
Like that's all, if we say like, okay, you won, so then your guys get to like try to sneak into my fortress.
Yeah, that's right.
Like that's a campaign. But I think nowadays people tend to mean something more like, you have like stats improving or you get like a mechanical thing, right?
Yeah, that's right. And
Like it's more,
consequences.
yeah, it's more involved. You can get some upgrades. It's like the RPG thing. It's like when I forget how many video games you play, but like for a while it felt like every video game had to have some sort of like XP system and progression in it, even if
Yeah,
it was like Call of Duty has more like RPG elements than some like RPGs I play, like
yeah,
actual like tabletop role playing games.
yeah,
So I feel like when people talk about like campaigns now, that's kind of what they mean because you don't really need like you can get like one book somewhere that tells you how to do like a just open ended campaign where you just make up stuff.
yeah, that's right.
That's all you need. Like you don't need to adjust that to like the game you're playing.
Hmm.
Um, so uh, what is the goal you're kind of aiming for?
Well, I guess I should start with the concept of the game.
Yeah.
So, Endless Hammer is like SRPG. It's a JRPG style tactical
Hmm.
game. So it's
Like
meant to be on a grid. It's meant to be like character based. So
it's
I
like
envision four
Tactics
dudes.
Ogre and
Yeah,
Final Fantasy Tactics and stuff.
yeah. I don't know why four, but four just kind of seems like the thing. Like
Good
four
number.
against darkness for some reason just seems
Yeah.
the most appealing.
The original Final Fantasy only had 4 dudes.
Yeah, that's probably why, honestly, because that's my favorite game.
It's a good number.
So, so the campaign kind of affects like why are these guys even here? What are they doing? Like if you're going to spend the time to set up an isometric map on a grid with
Hmm.
various levels,
Hmm.
and you're going to put out the enemies, and why are you even doing this?
Hmm.
It's the big question. That's what I think where the campaign comes from.
Yeah, it
Especially
gives like a context, right?
yeah.
Like you're
So
fighting these
for
dudes because, well, sometimes because that's what the random table set to do.
yeah, that's right.
But
And in a versus game, if you're playing against another opponent, then often you might set up your story yourselves, or you're just going to fight it out because you just want to play the game. You both painted up your guys, and now it's time to fight.
yeah, yeah,
But
yeah.
with a game like this, I don't think that's really its strong point necessarily.
Well, those games always had like very strong either stories or characters or something. Like you have to have like a personal, hook to it.
Mhm.
Like it's not just for a random fighter or whatever. It's this dude.
Yeah, exactly.
So and he's mad at these guys, and therefore they're gonna face.
Yeah. But like role players often just kind of make up their own stories anyway. Like if you go
Hmm.
and you have like a random game night, and then you sit down at the table and you bring out your guys, and then the other guy, your opponent, isn't a role player. He's like, "Oh, these are my guys, and this is their story, and they're
Hmm.
gonna fight that particular one on your side because he said this." And I'm like, okay,
Yeah, yeah.
okay, we'll go with that, sure. But with a campaign, especially in a solo and cooperative system, I feel it really needs to have a story progression.
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah,
so,
that's something that like it's all about like the ongoing investment, right? Like I did something, and now that has an effect on like the next thing I do.
yeah. So I took a page from Five Parsecs of Home, of course, and I added,
Hmm.
character events and
Hmm.
campaign events. There's a injury table, kind of more time, and
Yeah,
most of
yeah.
the games like that will often follow an injury table to
Hmm.
kind of build up, that end of the story. So things are happening to your guys.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
that's more procedural generation to create a narrative story.
Hmm.
But the kind
It's
of
all about making the world like seem bigger, right? Like there's stuff that can happen that didn't just happen on the table.
yeah, exactly. But like for like the core guys that you have, I don't really know which way I want to advance them per se.
Hmm.
Like, are they going to get stronger? So like you're playing all these games, are the guys getting stronger, or are they always just going to stay stagnant? You
Yeah,
know,
yeah, yeah.
if they're dead, you just replace them with new guys, but then they become kind of faceless.
Yeah, there's that. Because it's like you have on one hand you can like you dudes keep like improving. They get new skills or stats, so they get better at things, or they get loot, they get new weapons and stuff. Right?
Hmm.
That's like the typical. But you could also have something where like I'm trying to think of a game that does this, but I feel like there must be one where you just get more options to work with. So like at the start, your fighter has like 2 skills, and you pick which one you want to use. But later,
Yeah.
later they can still only use like one skill, but now they have four to pick from, and they get like a permanent bonus from something, and there's a couple you can choose from. So like you can just get more. It's almost like unlocking stuff in a like in a lot of like FPS competitive games. You don't necessarily like my guy doesn't get like three different abilities. I just get to choose between three. I still can only use like one of them or something.
Yeah.
So
I'm just gonna touch base 1 sec with chat to say hi to Pureblind. How you doing? Good to see you.
Hey.
And Noise to saying his own campaign is more of a wide story. Basically, the nation in which the Civil War is raging, and the encounters inform the background story for future battles. And there are 6 main factions.
Hey.
Yeah, so I think without anybody like really progressing overall, that kind of just tells a story too, because you're gonna have the maps ebb and flow.
Yeah, well, so that's almost because there's kind of like an up and a down to it. If you're following like 4 specific characters, then everything has to be those 4 guys.
Yeah,
they can only go so many places, right?
Yeah. Or
whereas,
in this case, like it's not necessarily stuck with 4 people, but you're only going to play 4 people on the map.
Yeah,
you might have more in your roster, say, and they could also be affected.
Sure, they could go somewhere else. Yeah. You could even have like you have a whole bunch of guys, and you have to like send them out to different. Maybe there's like 3 different missions, so you can't bring like the strongest guy or your favorite guy like every time. Sometimes you gotta send like the B team, right?
That's right.
But it's also like I'm trying to phrase it. It's like the more you like structure it, the more specific it gets. Because if you say, okay, there's not going to be any rules to the campaign, we're just going to make stuff up, and what happens, which it sounds like that's what News is kind of doing, then because you don't have like mechanics for it, you can also kind of just do whatever. Like if you want to say that, okay, I'm going to like swap sides now and play from the other side.
Oh, yeah.
Or like I want to go back like 50 years in time and like have these 2 characters fight each other because, because that happened, I decided. Like if you don't have rules for it, you can kind of do like any number of things to flesh it out or turn it around or, Whereas if you have rules for it, you can still do some of those things, but it becomes a little more. If I'm leveling up like my guys, I don't know that I want to like suddenly play a different group of guys.
Yeah.
In like exactly. Like I want to just play my guys, unless it's like a one-off kind of thing. Like maybe you play as the villains from one mission just to like add some flavor or something.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, it's like, but it's also the downside of like too much advancement is that it's kind of like, like the opportunities get like more and more narrow. Like if it's like in any JRPG where you start off fighting like slimes in a forest, and then at the end of it you're fighting like God in space. Those characters can't go back to the forest with the slimes. Like, it doesn't work. There's no point in them existing there. So, like, the more you like progress, the more it kind of like, kind of pins you down towards, especially if it's unlimited. And you did call it, endless quest, right, or whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
Endless hammer.
It is endless. It's not ending.
Yeah. But that might be one thing that always stuck out to me with a lot of those. Final Fantasy Tactics had like quite a few. You could get quite a few characters. Like the Disgaea games, you can have like, I think basically like as many characters as you like. Suikoden had like 50 or something. They always had like tons of characters, and it was kind of this idea that you might get some new characters, and then you work on like leveling them up for a while. So you're like building out this like roster.
Yeah, that's.
I guess a lot of those like mobile like gotcha bullshit games kind of work like that, where they have like 2,000 characters, and the one that you want you can't have.
Yeah, exactly.
This is like a $500 microtransaction, or it has like a 0.0001% chance of dropping.
But when you get it, you get that sweet rush.
Yes, and then you realize it'll take 200 more hours to like level up the character because you don't have all the materials.
Yeah, and then you get all the rare drop materials too to get up to the higher tiers.
yeah. And in order to you got to like refine them by getting 5 of the same one, which you will never do, and then it becomes one of the mega material. Yeah. But I think you could like use some of that like for good instead of evil, by making it more of a like. There's something cool about like being able to get more characters kind of adding. It's just you got to balance it out against, because the new guys coming in are just like level 1 shitters, and your dudes are all level 18. So, you're gonna pick the level 18 guys, right?
Yeah, so I was trying to think of ways to balance it. I mean, because no one actually knows the core mechanics of the game. It's kind of hard to explain.
Yeah.
But I could give like a brief overview.
Yeah.
So you have stats like a JRPG.
Mhm.
So, and those give you attack and defense and magic, HP, MP, things to work off of. And you
Yeah.
have skills. So you have core skills and you have skills you can learn, sort of thing. So you have like one skill your character always has, and like a few ones that kind of go with the class or the
Mhm.
race, depending on um, basically just what I felt like at the time.
Yeah, yeah. It could
Yeah,
be.
just feeling it out.
Yeah,
And
I mean, they
so,
could be like anything, right?
yeah. And so I figured to increase the stats, I didn't want to do like an XP system for that. So I don't want to say, oh, this guy, you could spend all your money into like attack and then like just raise it up really high, or have
Mhm.
like only like certain like maximums, like this class can only have this many stats. I don't want to go through that kind of work.
Yeah, yeah.
So I did it through a system where when you acquire treasure through the dungeon, it can be an artifact, and you use the artifact in battle, and sometimes it has good effects, like you raise
Mhm.
your stats permanently, or bad effects where you lose those stats permanently, or it's just something completely random happens. Like
You gotta gamble a little bit.
yeah, exactly. It's like that's the gotcha part. Like you don't know what you're gonna get until you start rolling.
Yeah, yeah. That's like gotcha rather than gotcha, I think.
Yeah, 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 gotcha. And then the skills are kind of like the thing. It's like because I've been watching a lot of I think it's called isekai, where
Mhm.
like people from like our
Oh,
world
yeah, yeah,
go
yeah.
into like, oh, now I'm in a fantasy world and everything's kind of
Yeah,
like a
yeah.
game, and I see all my stats and stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but I'm addicted to all that right now.
There's like a
And they,
ton of those shows.
yeah, and they're always building up skills, and I feel like the skills is where you should have more agency, and the stats are kind of like random, where
Yeah.
you don't really know what you're getting.
Yeah, because there's like with skills, it's like it feels more like it's the stuff that the character like does on a regular basis.
Yeah,
Like
that's right.
you can go out like if you wanted to like get good at like mowing the lawn, you can go out
Hmm.
and mow the lawn. You'll level up.
Yeah, that's right.
It's a little different. I mean, you can go and like lift the lawnmower, you'll get stronger,
Yeah,
but it's a little more nebulous. So yeah, I
yeah.
feel like skills tend to feel better if they are more under the player's control.
Yeah. Or you can learn to knit, say, but if you don't have very
Mhm.
good dexterity, maybe you're never going to be a very good knitter. But
Yeah,
you can
or
still
you have
do
to
it.
work harder at becoming a
Yeah.
knitter. Like you can still get there, but you have to like put in the hours with the knitting needles. You got to go hang out with the old ladies, get
I'm an
the
S
the
tier
dark
knitter.
the dark lore. Um, it's also because basically like the core of it is do you know if the skills will be like in steps, or is it just yes no, or is it like points, or like how
I haven't
many?
figured that one out yet. That's one of the.
Because if
I
there's
haven't.
like
Yeah.
3 steps to a skill, like you're okay, good, or master
Okay.
at
Yeah,
it,
I see.
like
Yeah.
then the step to go from one to the next probably needs to be pretty high.
Hmm.
But if they're like it's a number that's being added to like a d20 like in D&D, then like each step is like not very much.
Yeah.
So it's
I've,
kind of a different you can also have like escalating cost, like a lot of RPGs will do this where it's like buying the first step costs whatever, and then the
yeah.
second step costs like double that or whatever. So it's like so you could get like a whole bunch of low skills, or you can put all your points
Yeah.
into. And if it's a video game, you should always just max out one skill.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
That's
So
always
for
where you get the good shit.
yeah, for me, I figured since it's themed around, like the whole adventurer kind of thing,
Mm-hmm.
and adventurers guilds in anime always have classes like
Mm-hmm.
you like S class versus or S
Oh yeah,
tier, A tier, B tier.
yeah.
Then the skills could be aligned that way. That could be one aspect,
Yeah.
or
That
I
feels
could go
very
by
like Japanese, right?
yeah, yeah, or I could just go completely random and say this skill belongs to this racial type or this class type, and then you could roll
So
on a chart, and then you get to decide.
yeah, I mean you could also like kind of do both. You could have like depending on how like unique the races are, the classes or whatever, you could have like some skills are like tied to a certain thing and some are just available for everybody. So like
Mhm.
anyone can learn to fight with a sword, but you have to be like a lizard man to like learn, I don't know, how to
Wall walker.
yeah, that's a common lizard man thing.
Yeah, yeah.
They do that all the time. It's kind of a bother actually. Just
Yeah,
look around your house and there's a fucking lizard man hanging there on the wall.
yeah, licking their eyeballs.
Yeah,
Dang.
it's weird, man. I'm not into that. They can do that at a different house, like the neighbor whose Wi-Fi I was using earlier.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So I don't know how
Noise
it
has
like, reached all the way over here. Actually,
Noise is saying, I don't have my own faction. I play them all, and the battles are two-fisted. Every chapter is one focus faction, and 2 to 6 battles are fought where other is chosen randomly. Okay.
so you can kind of mix it up, especially if you're and that's kind of it's like the like sit down and play to see what happens, right?
Hmm. Yeah, that's
Where
right.
it's you can kind of do whatever. Like you could grab like, oh, I haven't played this faction in a while, so I'm just gonna see what happens. But they got their asses kicked, so that's probably why we haven't heard from them in a while,
Yeah.
kind of thing. Yeah, and that's a very sort of it's all in the it's very I don't know storytelling, I guess.
Yeah.
There was this game I saw. I'm gonna digress for just a second here.
Oh yeah, yeah.
But there was this game I saw, a guy running at a convention, and it was basically just like you would just. It wasn't even a war game, although it had miniatures. It was like some characters in like this wilderness, and it was like vaguely fantasy, but it was mostly wilderness.
Hmm.
And like you could just say what you wanted to happen on the board, and then if the other player didn't think that should happen, they would roll 2 dice, 2d6, and if it was a 7, it didn't happen, and any other roll it did. And then you just kind of kept like taking turns and having things happen, and so they would have like like one guy would wander off to go find like a like spirit in the forest so he could like turn into a bear or something, and another character like it was very sort of open-ended, and it's kind of like decided what you wanted to do, and then if the other person thought it was bullshit, they can roll the dice to determine if that's true or not.
Yeah. Bullshit.
um,
My 7 says so.
yeah, exactly. Which I mean, it is the most common role. But yeah, I think the other thing you can do. Oh, I rolled an 11, so you just got whatever stupid shit you wanted to ruin the game.
Yeah. That's right.
So laser bear.
Laser bear.
The other thing you can also it depends on like how much because you can like overcomplicate things endlessly, right?
Mhm.
But it is endless hammer, so maybe the complexity is endless. Because
Yeah.
you can also have like skills that like level up and get better, and then you can have I always call them traits, but like something that your character has that's just yes or no. So like our lizard man has like armor, like scaly armor.
Yeah.
That's not a skill; it's just a thing he has. But maybe he can like get a trait that lets him like deflect lasers with his scales. And it's
Okay.
just
Yeah. Yeah.
binary on or off. It's kind of like feats in like Dungeons and Dragons games where they do like a thing. They can modify a skill, or they can give you a bonus, or a lot of times they let you do something. The rule like skills usually still work within the rules. Like if you have a skill for like fighting with your sword, it lets you do more damage or make more attacks or something. But it's like you're still like using the combat rules.
Mhm.
But if you have a trait that lets you like have a ghost sword, maybe you can like hit people through walls or something. So like it gives you a way of breaking the rules in some way.
Yeah. Yeah. That's right.
So which is another. It's like having multiple like progression paths, right? Because you can like
Mhm.
so you can improve your attributes in some way, maybe through magic or artifacts. You can improve your skills through like grinding and fighting goblins. You can maybe get traits, or maybe you can get items. Like JRPGs always have like equipment slots, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
So you
I got to
have
skip
like
that one, I think. I don't
yeah, or
think
you
we
can
could
keep
do
it
it.
like
Yeah.
real simple.
Yeah.
That's something you can always like bolt on later. So
Yeah.
like, oh, now we have magic hairpins, and everyone can get like
Mhm.
one magic hairpin.
Yeah. I feel
Except for
like
the
before I started hanging out with you guys, or you especially, maybe I would just try to design a game that just seemed like it would do whatever I wanted to do. But now when I think about designing a game, I'm like, I got to keep this really simple so people can figure it out. I don't want to overcomplicate anything. I'm like, is this too complex?
yeah,
Is what I'm
a lot
thinking
of
right now
times
really just like overcomplicated?
yeah, it's very easy to get like I'm kind of prone to I love mechanics where like when you do something, roll a die. If you get like a 6, something extra happens. But
Mhm.
people always like forget to do it.
Yeah.
And it never because it almost never happens, you might as well just like ignore it. I think sitting down and playing something actually is like really because you'll notice almost immediately which things you like just forgot about, even though you created it.
Mhm.
So like
Yeah.
if you have like, oh, attacking like diagonal is a -1 penalty for some reason, and then like you immediately forget when you sit down to play,
Yeah.
maybe that could just not be a thing.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
So sometimes it's harder to create something that's simple because you only have like so many, like like squad hammer combat is simple.
Mhm.
Like roll 2 dice to hit and do 1d6 damage, and everything else is just a complication on top of that. But
Yeah.
the simpler it is, the less things you can kind of bolt into it. Like if there's no distinction, it's like games where well, I guess it fits with squad hammer anyway. Where like if there's no distinction between being difficult to hit and being in cover and being like armored, right?
Mhm.
Like it's all just a hit roll. That means that everything that you do can only go into that one thing, which is your chance of getting hit. If
Yeah.
you have like in squad hammer, you have separate damage, so now you have two. It's think I've said it before. They're levers. Now you have two things you can pull on. Because now you can have a thing that makes you harder to hit or reduces the damage you take. So now you have two different factors because they, even if the math is the same, they don't necessarily like feel the same. Like a fast character who takes less damage from hits feels kind of weird. If you have like a rock man, him being hard to hit would feel bad.
Yeah, that's right.
But if you have the two things, then you can make him easy to hit, but he takes less damage. So, and then that can affect certain things, But you can also get like carried away with it because you can have, let's say if you have like you have to hit the target and they have to defend and then you have to do damage and you have to get through their armor and then you have to determine if they get knocked down and then you have to determine if their mana meter
simulationist.
It is easy to get like because that gives you a lot of options but it also like gets out of hand like real fast, especially if it's solo because then it's just one dude who has to keep track of it all.
It was like if you got co-op, at least then you might have someone to remind you, and an opponent will always remind you if you
they'll
screwed up, but not if you forgot something that was good for you.
Like you remember that -1 penalty, but you didn't remind me that I forgot to move my tank. Thanks, buddy. We did an episode about PvP. We need an episode about like gamer etiquette at some point. Let some of those shitheads know what's up.
Yeah, god damn it. So Noise says, playing a game as an adventure proxy. I like the idea of acquiring loot to increase your powers. Yeah, I thought so too. I
think a loot-based approach could be really cool. I feel like a lot of like roguelike video games are like that too. Your character doesn't really like you might level up, but it doesn't matter that much. It's some hit points, but like the loot you find like determines how your character goes.
Yeah, I like having a mix. So I feel that if you use the artifacts to increase your stats, that's outside of your own control. It's like kind of a bonus. That's really cool.
Yeah.
And if you use like what you are adventuring for to increase your skills, then that's your own agency. So you kind of get a mix of the two. You have a little bit of control, but a little bit of randomness at the same time.
I feel like this also too, because there's some games where like experience is almost like completely. It's just like a function of playing. Like you could literally just say that every time you play, like one guy levels up a skill or something. And then there's some games where it's like more specific because there's certain things you could do to get XP. Like maybe it's like in more time, I think you get like more XP for like killing dudes or something.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, there's like different qualifiers at the end usually.
Yeah, so it's like, okay, well, if I have my brand new guy, I might want to like set up a situation where he can like get some kills, right?
Yeah, exactly. But he might also die, so then you get nothing.
Yeah, the whole thing was you spent like 8 turns getting him maneuvered, and then he rolls a 1 anyway.
Yeah, I had a vampire, and my goal is, of course, just get him in combat as much as possible, so he can get more experience, so he can get better skills. It becomes more of a murder machine. When I had goblins, I'm like, I'm just going to hide my leaders because they're not strong enough. They'll never be strong enough, and I need them there to find shards afterwards.
That's kind of how I played Skaven, which fit because I imagine a Skaven like leader would definitely like send his like dumbass minions out to get killed on his behalf.
Yeah.
So he would just stand in the back behind like a line of dudes with spears and slings, like being little bitches.
Little bitches. Yeah, that's the goblin way. Let's
absolutely. If you're little,
Noise
you got
saying
dirty.
that. I think you're in reference to the roll of 7 system. Sounds like Angle Matrix, but I'm not sure.
It's it looked very Matrixy. It might have been one of those things. There was a bunch of like, a lot of that stuff was like big in the UK scene for a while, I guess. It was definitely like Matrix derived. For the uninitiated, a Matrix game is basically a game that is run by arguments, where you say what you want to do. Usually, like for your faction, you're not playing a character necessarily. You might be a leader. So you say that, okay, if it's a military thing, you might say, okay, my troops are going to advance to capture this village. And they're going to succeed because they're well-trained, well-supplied, and there's no enemy troops nearby.
Yeah.
And other players might say, well, okay, but the weather is really terrible, and there are like raiders in the bushes, so that might make them not work. And then you might the ref might just decide, or you might roll dice and see, like, so it's like +1 for each argument or whatever.
Nice.
But yeah, it's often used. It's actually like a professional thing. People use it for like evaluating like conflicts and political situations and stuff.
Okay.
But you can use it as a like a hobby game as well. I did a Matrix game with a kid that was like about raiding the Death Star.
Oh, nice.
So yeah, you can use it for anything. All you need
Yeah.
is like conflict, and it's. But yeah, it was very similar in that sense, and you can apply some of those ideas to like campaign, especially like narrative tabletop campaigns. Like the oldest campaign system I've ever used have always just been, if I win, I get to say two things that could happen. You get to say one, and then we pick randomly which one happens,
Oh, okay. Interesting.
and then we move on. So it's like,
Yeah.
yeah, I think we. I don't know if it was for Warzone or Old School 40K, but we created it for that, and then that was just always how we did campaign. We would sometimes have stuff where like you would, we were more like rules bound at the time, so it was like you would just swap out a character. Like this is the same guy, but now he's like this cooler character type or something.
Leveled up.
Yeah.
Let's see. Pure Blind says for solo games, games that don't have any aspect of secrecy usually work really well.
Yeah, it's hard
Just be
to.
upfront. Yeah.
Yeah, it's hard to like surprise yourself. Like a big random table can do it if there's like 20 results that can happen, but in the end, like you can't really like surprise yourself in that sense. So you just have to kind of like the surprise is usually what ends up happening. You can take the pieces and combine them and then see what happens on the table. You know.
Uh, Noise is scolding us because he said angle matrix. So the quote is roll 2d6, 7 plus the action happens. It cannot be alterer. 6 id does not happen and cannot happen is the quote.
Gotcha. So
I'll flash it up.
yeah.
There we go. So
So
specifically angle matrix.
yes, because it's one of those concepts that have been like developed out by like a bunch of different dudes.
Okay.
So you'll see like different permutations. But yeah, that's basically like the original version. Some versions will also give you like a bonus if you keep like missing your rolls or something.
Oh, okay. Got it.
So
Let's see. So we got the matrix system. We got the angle matrix system, which is very specific.
actually, this is so old everyone forgot about it again. But my own War Story rules were a sort of derivative of Matrix rules.
Okay.
So, but trying to like make them add a little more structure for like combat situations. So they're like kind of, I don't want to say post Matrix, but you know, gotta sound cool. Post Matrix just sound like it's after the Matrix movies came out.
Oh yeah.
Like
Yeah.
Matrix
exactly.
Revolutions were like the cutoff point for culture, and everything else since then is something different. All been downhill.
Yeah. Pure Blind asks, what are some of your favorite existing campaign systems?
Well, so I'm gonna ask a counter question then. Do you mean like for a like my armies and your armies, or do you mean for like my guys and it's a warband? Because
Yeah,
those
does
probably
make
don't really compare. The one I have most fond memories of was this. I think everyone has done this at some point. It was actually from the Citadel Journal, but you could come up with it on your own. You take a giant map that is way too large, and then you build like a 50,000 point Warhammer army, and then you break it up into like 50 armies, and you make little paper things with numbers on them. You put them all on your side, and then you like move them all or write hidden orders. And then after doing that for 3 weeks, you've had one battle because you set up too far apart, and now summer vacation is over, and you never finish it. That's a good shit.
Yep.
It is in. I almost never write map-based campaigns because they always like grind out. But that is like, to me, that is like the peak of like military campaigning. It's like moving dudes around a map because you get that. If it works, you get that whole thing of like, well, this army has already fought a battle, so I lost like a bunch of my guys. But they're still okay. So I'm gonna put those forward to like slow you down or whatever. Like you get that whole kind of vibe. Or you can be, kind of clever. Your opponent like forgets which army is which. When it comes to like a warband campaign, this is going to sound terrible because I don't play very many warband games myself. It's basically policy. What I play personally is almost never connected to anything I write professionally because I think you just get worse at creating things if you do that. Just for me, some people disagree fiercely. But it was. I'm trying to remember. It was like a 40K knockoff game, like in the Emperor's Name or something.
Okay, yeah.
I think it became like a real thing, but like under a
Yeah,
different, like non 40k.
yeah, it was
But
big in the seventh edition, I think, of 40k.
yeah, it's
People were
kind
kind
of
of angry about seventh edition.
yeah, it was yeah, it might have been around that time actually. But it had this thing where like you're investigating, and then like if you succeed, you would roll for like what mission you play, and if you're failed in investigation, then there was like a different list of missions where the enemy like comes attacks you. So you have to like fight them off, and then you get back to your investigation or something like that. It's been years, but I always thought that was really cool that it was kind of like two different. It was the same, like you're just fighting dudes.
Yeah, yeah.
But there was kind of like two different tracks. So you like if you screwed up one of the missions, you had to like take this detour to like fight off some goons essentially. Um,
Mm.
so the really like classic one is the old Space Crusade board game, which I'm pretty sure we've talked about before. It was like
Yeah.
a like baby's first Space Hulk. But it did have a campaign kind of built in where your like sergeant for your squad got like he would gain ranks. I think it was like 5 ranks or something. And the effect of them was you could pick more equipment cards. So
Okay.
normally you would get to take 4 cards out of the 8 that your chapter had. But each promotion would let you take another card. So you could potentially have all 8. And then there was a
Mm.
second deck that I forget how it all fit together. But basically, yeah, you got more options to choose from. Dudes didn't really get any better. They might like your regular Space Marines would die like constantly, so they were just faceless guys. Um, but you would go in as you played the game. You would come in like a little better prepared each time, and you would be better. You have more options, more equipment, and stuff like that. So it was kind of an interesting that. So your squad was cooler or better because they're more experienced. Um, but it wasn't because like their stats changed. Like you would still roll the same dice and move the same distance. But it was also tied up entirely in just your like sergeant or your captain, I think they were called. If he died, you just start over. Like
Okay. Yeah.
there was no injury table either. Like this, he did have like 6 hit points, and everyone else only had 1. But like if he was gone, that was it. You were just starting over.
That's it.
So yeah, it was pretty brutal. Um, but it was always like it was interesting to me because it was very early. This is like I want to say early 90s. It's like about the same time as Hero Quest, the board game. So maybe
Nice.
that's late 80s, early. I'm not going to look it up. It's around that time.
Yeah, I didn't know anything about Space Crusade. No one had ever talked about it until later on, but it looked
Yeah,
really cool.
I think it may have only been released in Europe and only in certain countries.
Okay.
Apparently in Germany it was called like Star Quest or something. But
Okay.
I don't think it had a North American release. So yeah, it was just a weird because it was Milton Bradley Games. I'm pretty sure the same guys who did Hero Quest. I don't know why they just thought like North Americans they don't understand what space is. Like
Now I understand why Barnes and Nobles is getting all those exclusives. It's a revenge.
yeah. It's finally yeah, it's weird because Hero Quest like not only did have a North American version, but like that was actually like the better one than
Yeah.
the UK versions. Um, Someday I will have a format where I can talk about like all the stuff I found out about like the Japanese version of Hero Quest, which was completely bananas. Because they
Yeah.
like looked at the game and the components and were like, we're gonna make our own completely different game with all this shit.
Well, it
Um,
makes sense. Yeah.
yeah, roll your own. But yeah, so that was kind of like an interesting way of doing a campaign where it's basically like your guy, your captain, and then the random. It's like 9 Inch Nails, which is just like Trent Reznor and some random guys he like
Yeah.
found for this album. We'll never see them again.
Yeah.
Like if,
Studio artists.
yeah. Like if you follow him on a tour somewhere, it's probably like different guys each city. It's like, who's that dude on keyboard? It's like, we don't fucking know. Found him in a bar. Trent Reznor says he's cool this week.
Yeah. This week.
So
He's
yeah,
cool.
he'll be gone by the time we get to Philadelphia.
I'm gonna touch base with the chat just one sec.
Yeah.
Pureblind says I haven't really messed with campaigns too much. BattleTech Mercenaries looks interesting though, and the White Dwarfs used to have some very interesting soloable 3-mission campaigns, which I always like the idea of little tiny
Mhm.
campaigns.
Yeah. I think they did some for Middle Earth too. Maybe I'm remembering it wrong.
That makes sense.
But yeah, like I think there's a tendency also to like try to make it too big. I think there's nothing wrong with it being kind of a contained. Like old historical like wargame magazines would always have these where it's like 2 or 3 scenarios that are just linked together.
Yeah, that's right.
And that's like enough for like, if you're sitting out to play just for a weekend, right?
Mhm.
then you can play like 3 scenarios or 4 scenarios or something. Then you're kind of done. You've had a good experience, and you get to like finish it, right?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. That feels always feels more motivating too when you actually finished what you started. Like if you did half a campaign and you never got to finish it, then you kind of just lose track of the game, and you're like,
Yeah, and it feels
maybe
kind
I'll play
of
this other one.
right. Yeah, I can feel kind of bad. I guess it doesn't matter if it's like a game that doesn't have an end. Like Parsecs just keeps going as long as you want, but you can set your own. But yeah, there's something like I think people like sleep on the benefit of having like a little contained like experience.
Yeah,
There's this
yeah.
thing I want to make someday,
Mhm.
which would be like some basic rules, just like a skirmish thing, some very basic like move, shoot, morale kind of thing. But then you would get like it would be all about like little boxed campaigns that are
Yeah.
like 5 games or 10 games or something, and they would just be different situations. Like one could be like getting off an alien like space station or something. Another could be like it's the American Civil War, and you're like skirmishing with the Rebs or something. But they would all be just like a little, little thing in a box. You can play it in like a week, and then you're kind of done until the next one comes out.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing with Endless Hammer. Is I'm making what's called world books right now.
Oh,
It's
okay.
my working title, and each one, like right now, I'm just adapting role playing campaigns to them.
Mm-hmm.
Just like throwing things out there to see, what looks
Yeah.
interesting. So like my first one was, well, it's based off of Goblin Slayer, so you can
Oh yeah.
and like travel through the caverns. Like things kind of escalate, and then it has like a conclusion, and
Mm-hmm.
then I wanted to somehow tie them together. So if you play one world book, then it affects the overall campaign. And the next one
Oh
you
yeah,
play,
yeah.
like you choose, like because you're Adventurers Guild,
I feel
you're
like that
taking on
needs
like
like
adventuring contracts. Like it like
yeah.
moves the clock up towards
I feel like that
something final.
requires like a big like galactic villain that it all turns out to. Like after you complete like two worlds, like you find out like who the villain's like lieutenant is, and after 4 worlds, you find out like what dimension he's from or something.
Yeah. So it
So
just kind of builds up the clock.
yeah,
Sort of
yeah.
thing.
No, that's a
Yeah.
really cool idea. Plus, like anime shows like always like rip each other off, so you can kind of
Yeah.
like pay homage to it intentionally.
Yeah.
Like
It's all derivative all the time.
yeah, it's like that looks an awful lot like the world from whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
So.
The Don Juan Don says, hey, he's a big fan of Heroes of the Aturi Cluster campaign and system. He's hoping to get some of that gets injected into BattleTech going forward. I'm not familiar with that one.
Yeah, not either. But
Heroes of the Artillery Cluster.
But that just goes to show how many they're out there now.
Yeah, and Noise is saying they were playing Star Quest. Yes, around '93. I wasn't a fan of the aesthetic though, specifically the enemies, like those giant-headed grots.
Oh yes, I have a soft spot for those, but they all
I love those grots. Yeah,
the orcs, they all had like like they were all shouting and had their arms like out to their sides.
Yeah, really weird little teeth.
Yeah, and then it was like because you had like orcs and Gretchen, then you had Gene Stealers, Chaos Space Marines, and like robots.
Yeah,
like it was
not Necrons.
Yeah, Necrons would be around like a while. Yeah. They were just like I think they
Chaos
were
androids. That's what they call them.
That's what it is. Yes, I put them in Rookhammer.
Nice. Yeah, I got some of those. They're pretty cool sculpts, honestly.
Those were really neat. I was because they had like this really long rifle with like a really long bayonet on it.
Yeah, that's right.
So
and the Chaos Dreadnought from that box is awesome. I love that.
Yeah,
which is looking thing.
Definitely not like the big robot from like one of the RoboCop movies.
Yeah, exactly. Definitely not.
But yeah, that one's really cool with because it has the 2 heavy weapons like hanging down from like it doesn't really have arms. It just has like weapon mounts. But yeah, that I remember when we all got into because we had played Space Crusade before we learned about like real Warhammer, and those dreadnoughts definitely like showed up a bit before they got banished from everyone's tables. There was a while where everyone had like one Space Marine squad that was just like 2 of their Space Crusade squads.
Oh yeah,
that had been raided. It was always like weird because one of the Space Marine models had an assault cannon, which is like a Terminator weapon, but it was just like lugging it around, and it was cool. So, yeah, that was good shit. But yeah, there was some odd choices. I think they were just like going through the book and picking out like everything that could be a villain. There was even like extra stuff in White Dwarf. There was like you could play like as orcs and Eldar. It was
Oh,
It was
that's
like a
cool. Yeah, yeah.
Terminator. There were rules like a Terminator Squad, which just meant like obliterating the entire board. Nothing
Yeah.
could stop them. Um, yeah, that game was mad. But yeah, it was such an interesting thing. There was another. I don't know if this one I think had a at least American release. Siege of the Citadel, which was the Mutant Chronicles kind of dungeon crawler Warzone.
Mhm.
It's a very similar. You fight like Ghibli monsters and you get upgrades, and it's the same. I think the upgrades are mostly cards. I don't remember if your stats improve, but it's about the same time. It's a similar kind of idea where you're competing against each other, but you're also like getting upgrades as you're playing and improving. That one had the weird, interesting idea that like if you're four people playing, one of you will play like the aliens or whatever.
Okay. Yeah.
But
Yeah, makes sense.
your squad that you play gets points based on how well you do playing the monsters. So you're like incentivized to like screw your friends as hard as possible, so that you get bonus points when there are also cards that like deliberately like fucks with the other squads and stuff. It was a wild game. It was super unbalanced. I think Modiphius did like a version of it later, but that one looks like it probably had like rational rules, so that takes something fun out.
No,
Yeah, it's got to be broken garbage. So, but yeah, it was definitely a thing at the time. I think some of that could be like resurrected in modern games.
Yeah. Pureblind says he feels like campaigns with no definite ending would be a turnoff for him. And I think so too. I think it's nice. I mean, I also like my second edition Five Projects crew doesn't have an ending. I just bring them out every once in a while, play a game, and then put them away. You know,
Yeah,
which is kind of nice that way. But it is good to have a finale.
Yeah, sometimes you can like make your own ending because you might say like, okay, like I'm gonna play until X happens. I'm gonna play like 10 rounds and see where we're at or something.
Yeah,
I know when what is his name? The guy who does Me, Myself, and Die.
Yeah.
When he did Parsecs, he had like a whole story, and
Yeah.
he stopped when that story had played out.
Yeah, and Peachy kind of does that too in a way.
Mm-hmm.
Where you're like, I'm only playing this game system for this chunk of my story, and then the story's moving into this game system. So there's definitely an ending.
Yeah, I'm reminded of this guy played D&D with in college. Where like all of his characters were always like a dwarf from the same family.
Oh, yes,
so they would be like, so they're all like nephews or brothers or so on. And he just had this like family tree of dwarves from the same family, but in different like campaigns. So some of them existed in different worlds. Some of them were in Warhammer and so on.
That's pretty hilarious.
So yeah, it was pretty good. Yeah, I think it's also depending on like what you want to. I get sometimes like I'll get an email from somebody or see a post on Board Game Geek or something. Somebody saying like, "Oh, I played like 800 turns of like 5 leagues, and there's nothing to do in this game." Like, oh. I imagine
500 turns worth.
Yeah, I imagine like the first 5 turns, you were probably seeing a lot of stuff you had never seen before, and then by turn 782, you were starting to kind of like, okay, see some repeats. It's like those dudes you see on like Steam forums where they're like giving a negative review of a game because after 9,000 hours they're bored.
Oh yeah.
Well, maybe you should have had set your own goal, right?
The Don Wandon says, "Heroes of the Artillery Cluster was a fan co-op expansion for X-Wing done by Josh Dirksen." Ah, yes, the Lysander was his name. He's the lead designer of Battletech Aces and did Snapships and stuff.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I mean, there was a lot of people have come up with, like there's been as soon as like Necromunda came out, people started coming up with or trying to come up with like bolting that onto 140K, usually like in horrible ways. But yeah, you can. But again, it's about like what you want to get out of it. Is it about upgrading your characters? Is it about like achieving like a goal or something? Is it about because there's some like board game campaigns where like or card game campaigns or something where you don't really like get any better. Like you get better by buying like another card pack, I guess. But it's more just about it's like a gauntlet of quests, right? You have to like the Lord of the Rings card game is like this, where there's a bunch of, I think each cycle is like 9 quests if you buy all of them, and you don't like you get new cards with each of the packs, so you get better in that sense. But like still the same characters you're using. But just trying to like make it through, and it's more of they're kind of light on narrative.
Okay, yeah.
So, or there's those, what do they call them? Like the legacy games where you're supposed to like draw on the map and like, yeah, I can't play that stuff.
That
I think it's
stresses me out.
yeah. It's like, or you put stickers all over. Like, what if you never play the game again? It's just like you can't start over.
Yeah, can't
Yeah.
sell it. I guess that's the big one.
Yeah. Like, there's no. Yeah, I just can't do that. I understand the idea. I understand why people think it's cool, but I just
Mhm.
cannot do that. I wonder a lot of like different ideas you could adapt to miniatures, and you could probably take something like that and like do something with it, like because we played this battle, like this spell just doesn't exist anymore in the game. Like you go delete it from the rule book, and going forward, nobody can use that spell because
Yeah,
it was cast into the void or something.
yeah. I
You
guess it's
know?
kind of like unique, like magical items, where they say if you're playing the same campaign with everyone else, only one person can ever have this one sword. That's magic.
Yeah. Or you come up with if you have a game master, it's a little easier because you can just like
Mhm.
create a unique like item. So like the magic sword you found for your dude is the only magic sword like that. Like you can never have another like that. That would be cool.
Mhm.
There's the I've thrown this in a couple of places, like suggesting when you have like random events and stuff, where you create like a list of, let's say for your JRPG thing, you need like a list of like unique minor villains. So it's like Rorschach the Goblin kind of stuff,
Yeah.
side bosses, I guess, and you make like 20 of them. So each time you need one, you roll like a d10 and you count down 7 slots. And that's the guy you fight, and then you strike him off because he's dead now. Hopefully,
Yeah.
leave him on there if he
Got him.
just trashes the party. But otherwise, he's gone. And then when you get some time, you go back and you add like 5 more at the bottom. So you have this list that keeps. They're all unique, no repeats. But each time you kill one, he's gone forever.
Oh yes.
And then you just backfill the list so you can kind of keep playing as long as you want. You can do that for like random events or for. So you always have different events. You can recycle some things if you want. You know, maybe Rorschach the Goblin had a brother who's exactly the same, but his name is Rorschach instead because it's a brother, right?
Yeah.
So you can sort of have this like I don't know what do you call it, like a chain of new characters or items or something.
Yeah. It's a good way for moving the clock along too. If you're playing through like the contained adventures where they have like 5 scenarios, then if you're building up your clock, then you have to face off against the first boss.
Yeah. I was just talking. We're kicking around some ideas for a little project with a couple of friends, and one of the things we were talking about was because it's supposed to be like a set story, but you could have multiple scenarios at a specific like step of the story.
Mhm.
So like mission 2 is just mission 2, and then for mission 3 maybe there's 3 different choices, so you can play
Okay.
one of those, and then after that you go to mission 4, and that might have 2 options or whatever.
Okay, yeah.
So each step has like specific missions, but you can add more. So you might go back later because you replay the whole thing. You go back and say, okay, actually we're going to make like an extra mission 2, and now you have 2 choices when you play it again.
Mhm.
So, but yeah, basically like ways of. But that's kind of because it's intended to be like the anti-parsecs.
The anti-parsecs.
Yeah, like Mystic Space
Take
is
that,
anti-parsecs in some ways, and this is going to be like the opposite, where it's like not procedural basically at all, and it's instead very sort of set. Just to have done that too.
Yeah, which is fun. I mean, I've enjoyed thinking about stories and how to write them. And just little things. I want to keep everything generic.
Yeah.
Like none of the villains or heroes or NPCs or anybody is named. I go by like the Goblin Slayer thing, where like Goblin Slayer is just known as Goblin Slayer, and the Priestess is just known as Priestess, and then there's like Lizardman
Yeah.
Shaman.
Right,
they
right,
don't
right.
have names. You could just make up your own names.
Yeah, and that's part of as a player because that lets you like make it my dudes, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
If you want
that's
to.
right.
Maybe you don't want to. Maybe it's literally just my dudes.
Yeah, just keep them as.
It's like the
Lizardman
dividing
Shaman.
line for playing Dungeons and Dragons is the people who say there's like three. There's like people who say I go over to ask the barkeep,
Oh yes.
and there's people who say Thorgal the fighter goes over to ask the barkeep,
Yeah.
and then there's this third group who says my dude asks the barkeep. That's like the three divisions of role playing. So depending on are you the character? Are you talking about the character? Or are you talking about your dude?
Pureblind has heard that the mission campaign books for Frostcave are good.
I have heard
I don't remember anything about them.
endless good things about them, but I have played absolutely none of them. I played like 3 games of Frostgrave ever, I think, a long time ago. It was one of those things where Yeah, and I think they have yeah, they have like whole, things you go through and stuff. And some of them I think are more narrative than because the base game, what I remember of it was very kind of like more time-ish. But I think a bunch of the packs have like more story arcs and stuff going on.
Yeah.
And Rangers is of course like huge on story.
Yeah.
That's
It's all
like
story.
yeah, that's the closest to like sitting, with a game master and playing like a scenarios that he created, which I guess it technically is. It's just the game master is like a dude in Minnesota or wherever he lives.
Yeah, I heard in one interview, Joseph McCulloch was saying that he created Frostgrave because he kept yammering on about how Mordheim could be better. And then the guy at Osprey's like, okay, just write it.
Yeah,
He's like,
yeah.
oh, okay.
At some point, somebody will tell you to put up or shut up. And it worked out pretty well.
Mm-hmm.
But, I mean, let he who has not written a game out of spite cast the first dice, I guess.
Yeah, there was when we were talking earlier about like overcomplication of things.
Mm-hmm.
There's like a few things where I'm like, is this just too much? Like for the combat mechanics, I have it set so that like your attack stat say is 3, and your defense stat is 3. So in this case, you take 3 dice and you roll them, and if it's a 1, that's a critical failure.
Okay.
A 4 or 5 is a success, and then a 6 is a critical success. So let's see what you got.
2 6s and a 1.
2 6s and a 1 for 3 dice or 6 dice?
Oh, on 3 dice.
Okay.
Sorry, I got to roll for the other guy.
That's right. Yeah.
All right. So he gets a 1, a 2, and a 6.
A 1, a 2, and a 6. So in this case, the defense would have canceled out 1 success. So 6 is 2, and you lose 1. So you got 1 success.
All right.
And what was your attack roll again?
2 6s and a 1.
2. That's really good. So you overwhelmed the defense then.
Hey.
So you got 1 critical failure, but 2 critical successes. So you minus 1 from 4 and it's 3.
Yeah.
And does that seem like overly complicated because it's an opposed dice roll?
No. The only thing is if you're playing solo, opposed dice rolls can get kind of squirrely because like you roll for one and then like the cat wants something and then you roll for the other guy and then you're like, did I roll a 4 or 5? But you can solve that by just having like 2 different colors. Like you have blue dice for heroes and red dice for the villains or something.
Yeah, usually I just throw everything in the dice tray or dice tower.
If you have,
it goes down and that's what you get.
If you have like different colored dice or something, that's pretty easy to do. There was one guy who blew my mind because I literally never thought of it. But I noticed that he just had like, I think he had like black dice and white dice, and the black dice were his heroes in 5 leagues, and the white dice were the bad guys, and he just rolled them at the same time.
Yeah,
like, and it's one of those stupid things. Like I literally never thought of it. Like whenever I tested it, it was always roll one guy, then roll the other guy. It's like, oh my god. If you have, I don't think it's an issue. I don't think it's too complicated. The big question with like is always like, how many possible outcomes do you need? Like if you have like a hit, a miss, a critical hit, and a critical miss, that's 4 outcomes, right?
Yeah.
So, which means everything has to like account for 4 different outcomes.
Yeah.
So,
and the other qualifier is that in defense, 4 doesn't count as a success. So you had 1 critical failure, success, or critical success. So either lose 1, gain 1, or gain 2.
Okay. Yeah. So, and it's usually good, I think, to wait so it's like pro attack.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think so.
Otherwise, it's very easy. Like people don't like if you have to like sit there and like kick each other in the shins for a while.
Yeah.
You know, and for like anime kind of stuff, it needs to kind of move fast. Like you just get fucking fucked up.
Yeah, and I was thinking about it, I'm like, I don't want any kind of modifiers like +1 to your roll. I just want another roll. And I was trying to figure out why. And then I was editing an episode today for the podcast. It's like I've been working through the previous ones. And you yourself was talking about how you hate it when you roll something and then like that -1 just takes it away.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, maybe that was in my head.
Yeah, it could be. Sometimes, you know.
That's why. Yeah. It kind of
like,
sucks. You would have gotten it, but there's a -1, so
it's worse when it's like a role-playing game.
Yeah,
somebody like rolls. They think they roll well because roll like a 17, and then it's like, well, because your character has no legs, it's unfortunately a 3, and you can't do the thing. Like, god damn it! I would rather just have like had a shit roll to begin with. But it also depends on like, the reason modifiers are like so common is because it's just the easiest way of like putting in stuff. but doing it without modifiers like forces you to like think really carefully because you can only do like so many things. I just got my 20% battery warning.
Oh no.
Yeah,
Wrapping it up soon.
we're on the countdown. It's gonna shit
Yep.
itself at 10%, so we're like on the last 5 minutes now.
Yeah, okay. Wrap it up.
But the more like things, so like if you don't have any dice modifiers, and it's another roll. So maybe like let's say like if you cast a spell on me, I can do a counter spell and I get a different roll and I can turn the magic around. But that's like which is cool, but that's also a lot to have for like every single thing.
Mhm.
So maybe there's a bunch of stuff like if I'm standing higher than you, maybe we just say that doesn't matter, right? Because you don't want to add another rule or roll or thing just for being on higher ground. Whereas if you're using modifiers, maybe that's a +1 on like a d20. It doesn't matter. So I think choosing not to have modifiers helps like narrow down like what is the real shit that matters on the table.
Yeah.
Or for the characters or whatever. And it helps like pin down like what actually because you have to like put it somewhere in the design and there's only so many rules and things that you can kind of keep track of, right?
Yeah, that's right. For me, I decided instead of modifiers to the roll, you just get more dice.
Yeah.
So if you're up higher, then you get more dice. You know, if you're behind
yeah.
cover, then you get a better dice for defense, and that's it.
Mhm.
Or more dice for defense.
Yeah. That's plus it's fun to like add up like a big old handful.
Yeah, that's what I figured. I'm like, at the very worst, just roll lots more dice. That's what you're here for.
So you just have to watch out for because you could get into weird things if like one's count against you or something where like more dice can like penalize you.
Yeah, exactly.
So there's always some like any given like dice system is always going to have like some stupid thing.
Yeah.
Exactly. Like when you use d6s, people always complain that like, oh, there's not enough outcomes. Trust me, I get those emails all the fucking time.
Yep.
But then if you use a d20, they say that the outcomes are too random. Like, yeah.
You got to use a 2d10 for everything.
Yeah, 3d10 and pick the middle die. That's the only way that's truly fair. It's like those. Have you ever seen like the average dice that you can buy, where it's like the one? It's like I think the number like 2, 3, 4, 4, 5, 6. No, I forget. They're basically like instead of being from 1 to 6, they're like pushed in a little bit.
Oh, weird.
Yeah. Oh no, it's 2, 3, 3, 4, 4, 5.
Huh.
So they still give you like a d6 range, except not you cut the extremes off and put them in the middle, which is one of those things that's like really cool, but you can't put it in a game because nobody has that shit lying around.
Yeah, no.
So you have to tell them like how to like, oh, if you roll a 1 or a 2, just add 1, and if you roll a 5 or a 6, -1. Like, come on.
Seems like an abomination.
Yeah, well, it's the kind of thing that works if you're selling like a bag of average dice, you know.
Yeah.
So
cool. So let's wrap it up then, so that your phone makes it through.
It actually started down like when I got into the settings, it complains that the battery is dying. So I think it's like over. I was looking up like because I kind of don't want to. They don't make the small iPhones anymore, so I kind of don't want to like. So I'm trying to figure out if it's worth just paying $100 to get the battery replaced or whatever it costs.
Yeah, and unfortunately, sometimes you replace it with a battery that's just as old as the one you have.
Yeah, well,
because they just stopped making those batteries too. So they only have his old stock.
That's the other issue. So but at least hopefully there's like a warranty or something. So
well, it'd be a little bit better at the very least.
Yeah, it can't be much worse. So
no.
You know, it's like if your car is like a rusted out like Lada or something, like it doesn't matter what you get, you just got an upgrade.
Yeah, it's all upgrade from there. Perfect. Okay, well, let's heart attack out.
Yeah.
Peace. See y'all later. Bye.